All right, let's get you the latest in terms of where flight operations stand at this point of time, keeping in mind that the entire West Asia has been engulfed in the US-Israel versus Iran conflict. Global flight operations remain under strain. First flight of Air India with stranded passengers from Dubai has landed in Delhi. 149 passengers, including crew members of Air India Express, have returned home. A flight from Muscat also arrived at Delhi's IGI airport today. Operations at Dubai International Airport, Abu Dhabi International Airport partially resumed after recent disruptions, even as the threat of strike looms large. The impact on Indian aviation has been significant. Emirates flight from Mumbai has landed in Dubai. Of 4 Dubai-bound Emirates inbound flights from Delhi, Chennai and Bengaluru have returned to India after reports of blasts. Following reports of explosions in Riyadh after a drone attack, flight bound for Saudi Arabia has returned after they took off globally. Operations of Qatar Airways remain suspended over closure of airspace in Qatar. On Monday alone, 357 flights were cancelled, adding to 444 cancellations the previous day and 411 the day before. Amongst Indian carriers, Air India Express has resumed services to and from Muscat starting today. Meanwhile, IndiGo is now operating 10 special relief flights from Saudi Arabia to India. These flights are aimed at bringing back stranded passengers subject to necessary approvals and prevailing airspace conditions.
काफ़ी इंडियन टूरिस्ट लोग अभी भी वहाँ फंसे हुए हैं, तो उन लोगों को अगर यूएई गवर्नमेंट उनका स्टे का कॉस्ट वगैरह उठा ले तो थोड़ा उनके लिए हेल्पफुल हो जाएगा, क्योंकि एवरीथिंग इज़ वेरी कॉस्टली ओवर देयर है ना। सिचुएशन उतना ख़राब नहीं है जितना, लेकिन इंटरसेप्शंस और ये सब तो हो रहा है ना, लेकिन बहुत ही रेयर है, मतलब कोई किसी इलाके में हो रहा है, कभी किसी इलाके में हो रहा है, इस टाइप पे है। तो 28 को हमारा वापसी था, लेकिन हम लोग अभी आए, अभी हम लोग का 4 दिन से हम लोग वहाँ रुके हुए थे। रियली एयर इंडिया को बहुत ही मैं ग्रेटफुल हूँ कि उन लोगों ने इतना अच्छा हम लोग को सपोर्ट किया और जैसे तैसे हम लोग को लेके आए वहाँ से।
I didn't receive any notification till yet, so now I have to go back because I didn't receive any notification, anything.
Right.
So we will see from my company, because my company provide this ticket.
सब कुछ ऑपरेशनल है वहाँ पर, सब कुछ ऑपरेशनल है और रूम्स वगैरह सब अवेलेबल है, तो हम लोग को स्टे मिल गया था, बट वी हैव टू बेयर द कॉस्ट.
Amit Bhardwaj joins us right outside the IGI airport for a quick update. Amit, would you take us through the details that are coming in terms of resumption of flight operations? How limited are they? Which sectors are now flying? Give us all the details.
Pretty positive aspects for today. 3 important updates. Number 1, Air India was the first Indian operator to actually fly 2 crafts out of Dubai, direct flight from Dubai to Delhi, and the first craft actually, carried 143 crew members of Air India and Air India Express today, early in the day. And after that, you had AI 916, which became the first Indian operator flight to actually carry these stranded passengers in Dubai back to their home in Delhi. So 149 Indian passengers were brought back by that Air India 916 aircraft. After that, Oman Air is a very important development because many of these people who were stranded in Delhi were not able to get hold of tickets on any of the airlines. Oman Air had opened a window for them, and I'd met personally a couple of families who traveled, actually took the road to travel to the border of UAE and eventually enter Oman to take flight from Muscat. In fact, Oman Air had arranged Sharjah to Muscat bus operations as well for these passengers. But many of these passengers whom I met, they had taken their personal ride to Muscat, and they came to Delhi. The flight had landed in the noon today, including one couple that I met, named Piyush Pallav of Delhi. They were and Anshika. Piyush and Anshika were actually supposed to go to London, meet in London, and then travel to Scotland. But mid-air, he got to know that there are missile strikes. He got stranded in Dubai itself. His wife couldn't fly to London, and that's how the entire trip got cancelled. They were pretty worried. His mother was still, had tears in eyes when I met her at the airport. So safe journey back to home. 2 quick important updates. SpiceJet is expected to operate 4 special flights from Fujairah 2 different destinations in Delhi, in India, including Delhi and Kochi. Those flights will be operating late in the night. Air India Express is also operating their flights from Muscat today. The information in that regard is awaited. And IndiGo's 4 flights that were supposed to fly from Jeddah to Mumbai, Ahmedabad and Hyderabad, information in that regard is also awaited. Back to you.
Amit, if you can just take us through very quickly, you've given us and detailed the flight operations and the resumption of limited flights to West Asia and countries. A lot of sectors, like you also pointed out earlier briefly, where Europe is concerned, are still affected and remain affected. What's the latest update there? Amit, can you hear me? Okay, we seem to be having a bit of a problem.
Preeti, if you could repeat that question, please.
Amit, the question that I asked you was, you detailed the flight operations and the resumptions in a limited manner, which are taking place where West Asia countries and certain Gulf countries are concerned. Can you also detail, because lots of flights which are, on the sector of Europe, most of them still stand cancelled. What is the resumption of flights on that sector?
Preeti, what happened yesterday itself, that many of the operators, including Air India, for instance, they have chosen for, if you speak about north of India or Europe, what they have done is that they have taken a longer route. So even if you look at the numbers of cancellations for Feb 28th, these numbers were 411. For 1st March, it was 444. For yesterday, it actually was brought down to 357 because the air operators are now taking a longer route in order to reach for north of India, north of America, or even the European destinations. But yes, there are certain flights, for instance, Birmingham, London, many of these flights, Frankfurt, Paris, they are also getting cancelled. But now the operators are actually analyzing 2 aspects. First, the safety. The second, if they are taking a longer route, whether that is feasible from the business perspective as well or not. But even then, the operators are indeed taking longer routes in order to ensure that the flight operations are back to normal, because you also have to make sure that by changing route, there are other modalities which have to take into account as well. But we have to, we should believe that these numbers, the cancellations that we had seen yesterday, this could actually further come down today. Back to you.
All right. Well, that's at least the silver lining right now, where aviation and flights which are inbound and outbound from India come into question. Thank you, Amit, for joining us with that quick update. And Amit also elucidated there is a certain level of normalcy that is seemingly returning in the Indian aviation sector. How short-lived that might be, we don't quite know. But good news as of today. Flights have not now slowly started to resume from and to West Asia. Flights with stranded passengers have now returned to India. Stranded flyers allege that they are paying, though, 3 to 4 times extra to return on these flights. Few workers are now stranded in Mumbai and say they really can't afford these expenses. Listen in.
India's IndiGo is planning to operate 10 flights today, subject to clearance from the authorities, and these crafts were planned from Jeddah for different Indian cities. However, only 4 such IndiGo crafts have been given clearance. They are slated to fly to 3 Indian cities, including Ahmedabad, Chennai and Mumbai. However, what is happening right now, if you go through the list, Emirates EK517, this was slated to fly to Dubai. That is cancelled. Qatar Airways Doha flight cancelled. IndiGo's Doha flight cancelled. You again have Etihad Abu Dhabi, that has been cancelled. Air India's Dubai flight cancelled. And the setback is also for the passengers who were slated to fly to Riyadh. Now, what happened is that in context of Emirates, 4 flights of Emirates were flying from 4 different destinations from India, including Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, and 3 of them had to reverse back to their bases, including that from Delhi and Chennai. Only the Mumbai flight was able to land in Dubai.
दुबई में ऑन ग्राउंड हालात ठीक है. गवर्नमेंट वहाँ की काफ़ी कोशिश कर रही है कि लोगों में पैनिक का माहौल ना बने. हमें कांस्टेंट मैसेजेस आ रहे थे गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, स्टे सेफ, स्टे इंडोर, देयर इज़ नथिंग टू पैनिक, डरने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है। सारे मिसाइल्स इंटरसेप्ट किए जा रहे थे। ऑन ग्राउंड कैजुअलिटी काफ़ी कम थी।
When airspace में there are continuously missiles being shot down, drones are being shot down, so there is panic in the family. But as such, the government is doing a great job. Everyone has got a hotel, everyone's getting proper food, civilization is not hurt at all. Restaurants, all the entertainment places, gardens, everything is open. And government is now trying hard to open flights and push people back in their respective countries.